My name's Vlad Micu. Welcome to my talk, Confessions of a Game Consultant, Why I Won't Work With You and How to Change My Mind. If you want to take notes about particular things, don't worry too much. I usually put my talks up on SlideShare, so if there's anything that you see, a link or a quote or a picture that you would like to get your hands on, don't worry, you can just go to my SlideShare and it'll be there. So just a quick disclaimer. Nothing that I'm going to be talking about is particularly new. I just personally feel that there's a few topics in this industry that we just don't talk about often enough. One of them is, of course, how to work with advisors and consultants, which I sadly still see a lot of people not do. And yeah, like the little image says, just because I might give you some advice doesn't mean that I know more. It just means that I fucked up more than most of you guys. So who am I? So my name's Vlad. I've been in the business for 12 years. I've started out as a journalist, writing about the game industry. Ended up making games, doing project management. I've pretty much done everything in the industry that you could do except for programming and being an artist. Well, I did do some sketches for a couple of games, but that doesn't count. Aside from that, I like to quantify my life. So I've lived in about 11 different countries. I've visited 35, which is relatively low, I personally think. I still need to up that number. I'm credited in 22 different games, and yeah, I've just been all over the place, pretty much living out of a suitcase for the last 8 years. And I like to do cosplay when I can. These are some of the partners and the clients that I've been working with. In the past, the right side is more like on the media side. I've written for different international outlets and Dutch outlets. I've worked with various game companies. I've also worked with KLM, the Royal Dutch Airlines from the Netherlands. I'm proud to say that I was one of the game founders' mentors for a couple of editions of their accelerator. And currently I'm working with different companies such as Robot Gentleman from Poland, Little Chicken from the Netherlands, and the Dutch Game Garden, which is one of the main incubators in the Netherlands for game developers. So what do I do as a game consultant? Just to keep it like super basic, I'm paid to save people time and money. And I get paid to tell you what you don't want to hear, which sometimes works out and sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, then I just say goodbye and leave you behind, because we all need to be open for criticism and be able to take it. But I'm not sure if some of you guys went to the failure panel yesterday. We just had Mariusz give an excellent presentation on failure. It's so important that we keep our eyes and ears open and we don't kind of end up in that tunnel vision when we're working on our game, where we don't interact with people, around us. So I also travel a lot, maybe too much. I go to 40 to 50 events per year on average. You don't have to. This is one of the reasons why people work with me, is so I can go to all the little local events, like GDD, for example, meet all of you amazing people here and the local talent, and then just make sure that my clients have to show up at GDC, Gamescom. And if they have an easy access local event like GDD, I always recommend that too, because it's always the best when you can just have awesome people come to your backyard and be a host for them. Why I won't work with you? Well, there's plenty of reasons for that. I've been known to call myself the Mary Poppins of the video game industry. I try to come into your office, do a little dance, sing a little song, and hopefully you'll learn something from it, and then I'm off again, right? I try to make myself as expendable as possible, because you technically don't need me to be around all the time. At least that's my hope. My goal is to help you help yourself to reach your goals, so I don't have to be around all the time, right? So one of the reasons that I wouldn't work with you is you're just too indie. I personally believe that the term indie has kind of become a toxic word. It, in my opinion, stands for working too hard, being, not. Well, let's see. What are these beautiful memes here? For example, trying to innovate too much or too little, not finishing a game, but not setting a deadline for yourself, all of these different things, right? So one of the questions I often ask people is like, why are you doing this? Why are you actually making games? What's your goal here? Like, what's your plan? I don't work with people that I don't know. If you haven't gotten some kind of project done with people that I personally know, I most likely won't work with you, because who knows what's going to happen, right? So do share your ideas. I'm so happy to see that there's so many developers showcasing here, and this is kind of like for the first time, this is the first time I've been back in Talent since 2015, and I'm so happy and amazed to see that there's so many new developers that I've never heard of with above average looking games on this showcase, right? Surprise others with what you do. Try to kind of be memorable, right? So most of the people I end up working with are people that people talk to me about, right? So their peers, they come over to me and they say like, hey Vlad, have you heard of these Polish indies? They're doing something really cool. I think that you could totally help them out. Okay, I'll listen, right? So we all know the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Everyone here in this room is connected to Kevin Bacon in 1 to 6 degrees. And this is kind of like how I operate as well. People tend to introduce me as, oh yeah, Vlad, he knows everyone in the industry. I have to correct them. I know everyone that I want to know and that I like. And usually they have cool friends, and then I find out about those friends, and they usually end up being my clients. Pitch decks. Who here is an actual running a game studio? Just raise your hands, just real quick. All right. So who of you guys has a pitch deck? If you would want to work with me right now, could you show me in 20 slides what your team is about, what your game is about, what your company is about? Yeah, maybe. Okay, a few. It's so kind of ridiculous that one little document can be so important, but I think this was also a topic addressed in a couple of other talks. If you can't describe your project, your company in just a few sentences, if you don't have a quick overview of what you stand for with your team and your company and your game, then how am I supposed to go out and represent you and pass on that message and be your biggest champion, right? There's an ultimate cheat sheet on Medium that I found just a few days ago about how to set up a pitch deck. And really, it just makes life so much easier when you can contact someone important at a big publisher and a big investor, and you can just be like, hey, check this out, this is us, boom. Really quick, one pager, also awesome. You don't know your value. So I bump into a lot of developers who are very humble, maybe too humble for their own good, or that don't think that they're ready to approach me. This is one of the things that I also bump into a lot, which is fine, because you have to earn your way to me. But I think most of you guys might have heard of that parable about the little mouse and the lion being like a dick to the mouse, and then he gets caught in a trap, and then the mouse comes over and nibbles on his net and frees him, and the lion is like, oh crap, okay, this guy has value, right? This is how I've built my career as well. I've worked with very high-level individuals in this industry who you might think know everybody and have everything they need, but guess what? I was always able to help them out, do them a favor, introduce them to someone who might have ended up being valuable to them in some way or another. And so one of the things I always tell people is when you go to these kind of events, what do you have to offer and what are you looking for? And that's how you introduce yourself. Very simple, right? Timing is everything. I was actually just talking about that with someone yesterday, where they got a company that we both know got their hands on a very famous big license. Now, I'm not going to name any names, but the license was international. But what happened with the license was that at one point, it's a TV show, and the hosts of the TV show left. Well, guess what? Usually when you have a TV show, the hosts are the ones that make the TV show what it is. And the name and the title and the history of that TV show doesn't matter once those personalities have left. And so here they are stuck with this license a few years later, and it just doesn't have any value anymore. You're not able or willing to close. we all need partners. We all need, relationships with platforms, with publishers, with investors. And I keep bumping into people that have amazing opportunities just lying right ahead of them. And somehow, themselves most often, just keep themselves from acting, keep themselves from getting to that point of closing, right? So I have a very simple rule for the people I work with, and that's that if I believe in you, I'll be your biggest champion. I will bring you these deals, I will bring you these opportunities. But if you don't grab them by the, pardon my French, balls and hold on and squeeze and get something out of that, then what am I doing this for anyways? And this happens to me quite often. So just a little bit of a motivational thing. I'm not sure how many people know Glenn Ross, but it's an amazing, let's see, what, I just had this ready. Oh, okay, never mind. But it's a play that was then turned into a movie, and let's just watch this scene real quick.
Let me have your attention for a moment.
But you're talking about what? You're talking about
Bitching about that sale you shot. Some son of a bitch don't want to buy land. Somebody don't want what you're selling. Some broad you're trying to screw, so forth. Let's talk about something important.
Are they all here?
All but one.
Well, I'm going anyway.
Let's talk about something important. Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only. You think I'm fucking with you?
I am not fucking with you. I'm here from downtown. I'm here from Mitch and Murray.
And I'm here on a mission of mercy.
Your name's Levine.
Yeah.
You call yourself a salesman, you son of a bitch? I don't gotta listen to this shit.
You certainly don't, pal. Because the good news is you're fired. The bad news is you've got just 1 week to regain your job, starting with tonight. Starting with tonight's sit.
Oh, have I got your attention now? Good.
Because we're adding a little something to this month's sales contest.
As you all know, first prize is a Cadillac Eldorado. Anybody want to see second prize? Second prize is a set of steak knives.
Third prize is you're fired.
You get the picture?
You laughing now? You got leads. Mitch and Murray paid good money. Get their names to sell them. You can't close the leads you're given. You can't close shit. You are shit. Hit the bricks, pal, and beat it, because you are going out.
The leads are weak.
The leads are weak. Fucking leads are weak. You're weak. I've been in this business 15 years.
What's your name?
Fuck you. That's my name. You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name. And your name is you're wanting. And you can't play in the man's game. You can't close them. Then go home and tell your wife your troubles. Because only one thing counts in this life. Get them to sign on the line which is dotted. You hear me, you fucking faggots? A, B, C. A, always B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing. AIDA. Attention, interest, decision, action. Attention. Do I have your attention? Interest. Are you interested? I know you are, because it's fuck or walk. You close or you hit the bricks. Decision. Have you made your decision for Christ? An action. AIDA. Get out there. You got the prospects coming in. You think they came in to get out of the rain? A guy don't walk on the lot lest he wants to buy. They're sitting out there waiting to give you their money. Are you going to take it? Are you man enough to take it?
What's the problem, pal? You, Moss. You're such a hero. You're so rich. How come you're coming down here and wasting time with such a bunch of bums? You see this watch? You see this watch?
If you want to watch the rest of this scene, you can go on YouTube. There's a thing, I think there's still a couple of channels that have it. What I love about this is Alec Baldwin specifically spent 7 minutes in this movie, and he got an Oscar as Best Supporting Actor, which is a point I'll get back to on later during this talk. But I mean, that's freaking amazing, right? So you 7 minutes in a movie and you get an Oscar for that. I love this scene because it's very polarizing. Some of you might be like, oh my God, he's a dick. I don't want to work with him. Others might be like, yeah, let's do this. Let's get that money. Let's get going. But I end up being a little bit like Alec Baldwin when I get into a game development company. I come in, I assess, I try to figure out what is going on. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And how can we close using that, right? So one of the things that has personally bothered me a lot in this business is that there are three emotions that limit a lot of developers. They're very much, a lot of us have these emotions, but it's fine to have them. But don't make decisions based on them, right? Insecurity, right? Desperation, stubbornness, usually lead to bad deals, lead to not finding the right people to work with, lead to just overall hard to work with projects. So how to change my mind on all of these things? How to get on my good side? I would say one thing I want to clarify for me personally as a consultant is I see you as my lottery ticket, right? I'm Mr. Jackpots, if anyone knows the reference. And that's because I'm fortunate enough at a very young age to have come to a position in life where, although I might not be the richest person, like Alec Baldwin with his watch and his car, I've come at a position of what a lot of people refer to as fuck you money, or the position of fuck you, which is based off of a movie called The Gambler. I'll just show you the clip real quick so you get an idea of what I mean. John Goodman.
You get up $2.5 million. Any asshole in the world knows what to do. You get a house with a 25-year roof, an indestructible Jap economy shitbox. You put the rest into the system at 3 to 5% to pay your taxes, and that's your fortress of fucking solitude. That puts you for the rest of your life at a level of fuck you. Somebody wants you to do something? Fuck you. Boss pisses you off? Fuck you. Own your house. Have a couple bucks in the bank. Don't drink. That's all I have to say to anybody at any social level. Did your grandfather take risks?
Yes.
I guarantee he did it from a position of fuck you. A wise man's life is based around fuck you. The United States of America is based on fuck you. You're a king. You have an army, greatest navy in the history of the world. Fuck you, blow me. We'll fuck it up ourselves, which we have done. Beautiful fuck you position, lost forever. You get up $2.5 million.
Sorry, it's on repeat. So when I work with developers, I don't usually ask a lot of money. I don't ask for a lot. I just want to enjoy the ride, to help them elevate themselves to a position of fuck you. Because I'm very happy to be there already. And it relieves me, right? It gets me to a position where, yeah, I can afford to tell you what you don't want to hear, and I love it. And one of the things that I really like helping developers with is their business relationships, which for some reason, not a lot of developers focus on that much. But it's so important that you look to your left, you look to your right, and you acknowledge that the people that you're sitting here with are here to stay. And they might be young, they might be students, they might be in a position right now where they can't provide you with anything. But guess what? Once you're in this business for 12 years like I am, they'll end up being some of the most valuable connections you'll ever have. And don't underestimate that. So do look to your left and to your right, and do greet the person sitting next to you, because you might not ever know when those people might be of incredible value for your business. So one of the things that I really like doing, just a little practical advice, is there's conferences like this, right? There's events like this. Very important people might show up. Don't rely on meeting them and telling them your life story here. One thing that I did for GDC, which is the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, the biggest event that just happened a few weeks ago, last month actually, is I have tried my best to get as many important meetings on Skype beforehand, so that when I sat down with the people at GDC and we only had 15 minutes with people that were mostly jet lagged or hungover from partying the day before, we actually talked about the things that matter. Face-to-face meetings always win. And if you can, and this is something that also relates to your budget, of course, meet them at their office. There's nothing better than going to Valve in Seattle and sitting down with them, having lunch while Gabe Newell just walks past you like casually, like nothing is going on, right? Same thing for Nintendo and all of those other big companies that you might want to work with, and especially investors. There's nothing cooler than showing the commitment that you have to wanting to work with them by going up to their London office and having coffee with them next door. So where's your biz dev person, right? Like I consult a lot of developers that either don't have a biz dev person or have someone who's doing it part-time next to programming or whatnot. But you need to have someone in your team that actually manages these relationships, that checks up on these people on a periodic basis to figure out if, timing-wise, there's something cool on the horizon you might be able to work with. Right? So I would like to work with people that can spot opportunities for growth, for something that might not be on their agenda directly, but their strengths, their technology, their talent might be able to jump on top of, right? So this is funny. We were talking about it yesterday during the failure panel. Like, who knows Gunshine? Gunshine is Supercell's first ever game, right? It was an isometric shooter on Facebook. Didn't really work out for them, and they pivoted. Overwatch, same thing. That was Project Titan. Millions of dollars wasted. Pivoted. Slack, Flickr, Discord, they're all tools that were based or were developed during the development of a failed game project, right? So that's one thing I love helping developers with, but they also need to be able to recognize the opportunity ahead. So one of the most important rules that I apply to my work and I project on the developers I work with is the 20-80 rule, right? What is the 20% of everything you do that brings 80% of the results? Screw the other 80%, focus on that, right? Value is created when the return of investment is bigger than the initial investment, very simple. Resilience, I love working with developers that have been around for a while, especially, have had some projects, might have not worked out, but it built them up, that built their character, it built their hunger to succeed and to achieve. The number one thing that I judge startups on is their level of resilience, following, of course, the first thing, which is the team. The team is, in my opinion, always the most important thing. The Finns have that word, sisu, right? Perseverance. I love it. I love sisu. I love that whole mentality. And, for the people who know Dragon Ball Z, every time a Saiyan is close to death, that's when they actually get stronger, right? And we all know Rocky, of course. So I do like to see people have a long-term plan, how to get to that position of fuck you. The Japanese have this beautiful word for it, ikigai, right? A reason for being, right? And there's a very interesting construction here. You can see, you do what you love, you do what you're good at, you do what the world needs, you do what you can get paid for, and then the dead center of that is ikigai. Well, I'm very happy to say that I personally am filled with ikigai. And that's something that means a lot to me because it took me quite a lot of hardship to get there. So veterans and advisors, right? I think there's nothing more important than being able to have people from the outside look inward on a regular basis. And they might be costly, they might be expensive because, well, they've been in the business for a while. But trust me, you'll earn back every single penny that you might invest in them. And they'll give you that, that much needed perspective. And they will champion your cause in a way that very few people will. But more importantly, and this is what I want to finish with, is you technically don't need someone like me. Because you have all of these awesome people around you that you can talk to about these kind of topics, about failure, about adversity, about, the kind of challenges that you need, the introductions you might need. Your community of peers is the most valuable thing that you have, next to your own team. So in summary, right? It's like, if you get these things, if you understand where you are right now, where you want to go, help me help you, right? Give me something awesome to wield. Like, I see an awesome video game or an awesome team as a giant sword I can just go hack and slash through events with, right? But that comes with a certain self-knowledge about your strengths and your weaknesses. You celebrate your strengths, you embrace your weaknesses, and we turn that into, like Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones said, right? Like, use it as your armor. Your small team, cool, you're versatile. You focus on small, short projects. You're a big team, great. You can do big budget stuff and you deliver on time. Value your business relationships. I can't say this often enough. When was the last time you caught up with, the main platform holders that you're publishing on, even though your game might not be released yet? You never know what kind of showcase opportunities, promotional opportunities there are out there unless you find out and ask. Get out of that comfort zone, right? If things feel like they're going too easy, something is going wrong, always, even if you're successful. And keep taking those damn punches, Like, I couldn't have said it better than Marius and the quote that he used from Churchill, right? Failure after failure, that's success, as long as you can keep your enthusiasm. And like I said, make me as expendable as soon as you can, right? So, I got some other talks up on my YouTube channel. They're fairly old. I look thinner on the video, so I like keeping them online. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. Twitter kind of is not the best way anymore because I barely read it. But if you are on Twitter, you can message me and I might answer you in 6 months. You can always email me. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can just approach me during lunchtime because I'm going to go get a bite right now. So thank you very much. And if you have questions, let's go have lunch and we can discuss it over there. Thank you.